Hey YouTube, Philly J here with Different Dimension Gaming. Gonna showcase my recent duel at locals against Dark World with my Predaplant deck. Duel was really fun. What I'm gonna do is just kind of run you through what I was thinking and the plays that are being made and why they're being played, and then we'll just kind of watch the game together and I'll walk you through everything. So that being said, let's get going. So here we're just going to shuffle up and let our opponent cut the deck, and then we'll jump into it. I think I ended up winning the dice roll if I remember correctly. 6, and he rolled, he rolled a 5. So we start out, I draw my 5 cards, and we see some bad news. We see triple super polymerization, Predaplant Helium Fornicus, and the light hex sealed fusion. The worst possible hand I've ever seen in this deck. So we'll set 2 of the super polys and pass turn. At this point, we don't know what our opponent's playing. And then he discards again, and we go, okay. Now we just have to wait and time our fusions correctly. We're just going to go full Dark World combo, discard Genta to search gates, activate gates, banish the Genta, discard a fiend, draw a card. Deciding which one to discard, he discards Snow, draws a card. Then he goes Chainlink 1 Snow, Chainlink 2 Genta, special to Genta, and search with Snow. I could tell he wasn't super comfortable with the deck yet. He seemed to be, kind of mathing out his plays as he was going, which is fine. That's why you come to locals. He ended up kind of getting, it felt like he was unfamiliar with the deck, and then as he played, he kind of sunk into it and remembered how to do everything. So it was fun just to kind of see him develop like the memory of how to play the deck as the duel went on. Activate Dark World Ascension, discarding Rainbow and Grapha, Fusion Summon Big Grapha, Chainlink 1 Grapha, Chainlink 2 Rainbow, and I admittedly here did shotgun the Super Poly. I should have waited for the Grapha target and then activate the one that he targeted, but instead I just chained it to as Chainlink 3, so that's my bad. And we'll just continue with the game here. So I summon Dragostapelia, and then as the chain resolves, he targets the Dragostapelia with Grapha. After he searches Silva. That's when I went, oh, why did I do that? Why did I shotgun that? Okay, it's okay. We still got 1 Super Poly left. We can still do stuff. Explain it's going to use an effect to add Silva, the Ascension back to hand, discarding Silva, special summon Silva. Use Rainbow, bounce to Silva, summon itself. And then I go, okay, Super Poly here. Discarding the 3rd one. Using those 2 monsters into our Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. At this point, I know that the last card in my hand is the Light Hexil Fusion. It's the only legitimate brick in the deck. And I go, okay, I'll just see kind of what he does here. So he normals Brow, bounces it back with the Rainbow. Bounces Rainbow back with the Grapha. Doing a bit of contemplating here, deciding where to go with his plays. I'm going to read the Starving Venom, make sure that it's not the card that will end the game for him. At this point, I've pretty much accepted that I'm going to lose this game because I've got a brick in my hand and my top deck can't be that good. I draw. And to my surprise, it's actually a good card. And then he fusion summons on my turn. And I go, okay, well, what else can I possibly do here? Read the graph and make sure it doesn't do anything that I'm not positive about. Making sure it just changes the effect and not negates it. He actually times his negate here really, really well. I normal summon the Orpheus Scorpio that I top decked. Activate the effect, discarding the Light Hex Shield Fusion. Actually, after this game, we both admitted that both of our opening hands were pretty bad. His clearly was better than mine. I'm going to search the Branded Fusion off of our Darlingtonia Cobra. We'll activate it, which he will swiftly respond with Grapha, essentially ending our turn. I go, okay. So he kind of wraps up his plays and then makes a little joke about like, okay, you can finish your turn now. And I just kind of go, oh, great, lucky me. It was a fun duel, though. I mean, I didn't want it to sound like there was any hostility in that. We just, sometimes you brick. And then, yeah, he, at this point, just pops off. Discard stuff, summon stuff, draws cards. Summon the rainbow. Activate gates over gates. Activate the effective gates. Banishing snow. Discarding Silva. Draw one. Silva effect. Bring itself back. Discarding the Genta. To add gates. And we'll gates over gates again. Gates effect, banishing Genta. Discarding Silva again, draw one. Silva bring itself back. Set one. And I go, oh, that's weird. And then I see the Bigfoot and I go, oh, that makes sense then. 1, 4. We roll 5, 6. Roll a 1. We hit the Gen, or the Ken. I don't know which one is which. As I stare on the board, I go, yeah, this is enough. This is more than enough. We'll just go game 2. Then we're just going to get a couple more shuffles in. Cut the opponent's deck. We opt to go first, of course. We draw 5. We see decent, not great, but we see pretty good. I start the turn off with a normal summon of Orpheus Scorpio. Activate the effect to discard Fallen Valbaz. Searching our Darlingtonia Cobra. Cobra effect will grab us a copy of, I think, Instant Fusion. We're going to double check the hand, make sure there's nothing terrible in that. But we're going to grab the Instant Fusion. Activate the Instant Fusion. It became pretty clear that he wasn't running any hand traps in his deck because, I mean, he would brick on them more than he already would in Dark World. So I felt pretty safe to just pop off. I'm going to grab a copy of Bufalicular because we did open our Predaplanting. Activate second effect of Anglinoides to tribute the Darlingtonia Cobra and add from deck to hand, or to summon a copy of Chlamydosin. Use the effect of Chlamydosin to fuse itself with our copy of Orpha Scorpio and summon our copy of Chimera Flesia. I'm going to activate Branded Fusion using our second Albazin deck and our light Hex Sealed Fusion. To summon out Albion, the Branded Dragon, and then we're going to use Albion's effect. And we kind of decide what you're going to do. I considered going into Lubellion, but I figured we'll just go straight into Mirror Jade and avoid all the kerfuffle. Mirror Jade comes down. And then I think we're just kind of deciding what to do on the follow-up. We're just going to activate Polymerization, fuse our 2 fusion monsters into our Predapower Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. We're going to set the copy of Predaplanting and pass turn with the 1 card in hand, and in the end phase we're going to activate Albion to add a copy of Branded Fusion to our hand. We get the opponent to cut the deck. And then in his standby phase, we're going to activate the Chimera Flesia to add a Polymerization or Fusion card from our deck to hand. At this point, I feel okay. You know, I've got potential to screw up his rankings. I've got potential to bait the negate. I can banish something, and then with Preda Power, I can just bring it back. So while it may not seem like much, we've got an Omni Negate, a banish, follow up, and we've at the end of the turn, if he gets rid of our Mirror Jade, we've also got a board wipe. He's just clarifying that there's not any counters on the field at the moment. And he's just kind of going through his cards, going to decide to Dark World Puppetry. Or he's going to banish 3 cards from either graveyard and then discard a card. Oh yeah, sure, I'm not using my graveyard anymore anyways. Gonna banish our Chimera Flesia, our Albion, and our Branded Fusion. I go, yeah, sure, we're not using those anyways. He's going to discard Snow, and he's going to search off of Snow. I will admit I don't really know what the Dark World deck does as far as like an end board. I know it makes a lot of like ranks and stuff, and if you time your cards right, you don't get Fiend locked right away. And he normal summons Gen, I think. Oh, he summons one of them, and then we're gonna get the other one. Gen or Ken, I don't know. Gives us the other one so that he can draw 2, discard 1. I'm like, I think I decide to activate the Predaplanting here. Like, and he goes, yeah, sure, give everything a counter. But I get to send a Predaplant from deck to graveyard, which I'm happy about, because that means I get to bonus off of my Biplisp. To explain to him, what's going on here. Things get counters, I get a surge. It's going to Dark World Ascension. And it was shortly after this that I realized that Ascension was a once per activation, and Predapower negates activation. Then he just clarifies that it is negating activation and not the effect. He discards Grapha to add it back to hand, and he pops the Mirror Jade, and I go, hey, that's good for me. I activated the Mirror Jade effect to resolve in the end phase. He summons the Grapha, and I go, okay, I'm just going to hang out here for now. I'm fairly confident that Predapower is bigger than anything he's got in his deck at 3,600 points. And if he manages to get rid of it, I can just bring it back with its own effect. And then we're just going to Dark World combo, discard Silva, summon Silva, Grapha, bounce Silva, summon Grapha. And he goes, it's clear to me that his hand is only okay. He doesn't have a great hand at this point, so he's going to try to extend a little bit. He's going to banish the Brow, discard Silva, draw one, activate Silva to bring itself back. Bounce the Silva, bring back Grapha. Then he's going to, I think he overlays into Hope Harbinger. I'm looking at my hand just going, hey, you can leave 3 darks on the field. I don't care. I'll fuse them all away. With that Super Poly in my hand, I always feel pretty good because I've got all the options. Especially against Dark World that doesn't have a lot of spell trap negating. I can just, especially with Super Poly, since your opponent can't respond to it, I'm like, hey, just leave them all on the field. That's fine with me. He's just kind of running through scenarios in his head about what he wants to do. He goes to the battle phase, realizes that my monster is way bigger than any of his, jumps into main phase 2. He's doing a lot of reading here. He's trying to find a way to get over this thing, and I don't think he's finding a successful way to do that. But he's going to overlay these 2 into Hope Harbinger, not realizing that the Mirror Jade effect is just going to wipe his board in the end phase. He goes ahead and gives Mirror Jade a read, not realizing that what he's done is a huge blunder, and just goes, all right, game 3. I go, cool. Well, we're just starting up game 3 here. We're opponent on the deck to cut, and we draw our 5. He opts to go first, and I look at my hand, and it's great. We got Orifice Scorpio, we've got one of our scales, double Predator practice, and I think the branded fusion. It was double Predator practice, instant fusion, Orifice Scorpio, and Fallen of Albaz. He normal summons Ken, gives us Gen. Discards the rainbow effect. Searching the Grapha. Okay, he's just kind of reading his cards, making sure he knows what he's doing. Goes for Allure of Darkness, which tells me his hand's not very good. Gonna banish the Bigfoot. And Dark World Puppetry. Dark World Ascension, I don't know. It's one of them. Gonna reveal the Bigfoot in hand. 1, 4, reroll 5, 6. Roll 2. We end up discarding the Danger Mothman. Just gonna summon the Bigfoot, draw 1, and then activate the Mothman. I drew Biplisp. I go, hey, that's easy. So I discard the Biplisp off of the Mothman effect. And ended up searching, I think, the Bufollicula. Yeah. But I'm going, okay, we're just going for the one shot here. We've got enough juice in our hand. We can just push and end the game in one turn. Ourselves a cut. Give our opponent the deck to cut. I'm going to discard the Genta. Searching the gates. Activate gates. Banish the Genta. Discard Rainbow. Draw 1. Something about the card on the field, I don't really know what it does. Discards the Grapha to draw 1. Again, to bring itself back. Rainbow bounce again to Grapha, bounce the Rainbow, bring itself back. Staring down a pretty good board here. He's going to go into Ascension. I'm going to fuse the Grapha on field and the Rainbow in hand to summon Big Grapha. Just reading it one more time, making sure I'm not missing any effects that would stop me from using it as fusion material on my turn. Use an effect to discard the Genta. He's going to use Genta to discard itself to add gates. So the effect in hand is not once per turn, but the effect to banish itself and summon itself back is. Discard the Brow. Draw 1. Draw Brow effect. Draw 1. Again, look at my hand like, there's no way that my hand's this good. And I'm like, hey, my hand's this good? No, it's crazy going from, we're going to activate Salamander to discard Silva to summon itself, activate Silva, bring itself back, bounce to Silva, bring out the Rainbow. I was saying it was crazy going from one of the worst hands I've seen in this deck in Game 1 to one of the best hands I've seen in Game 3. Overlays 2 8s into Hope Harbinger. And he's just doing some reading here, looking at a card, and it's actually like trying to figure out what he wants to do. He's going to use too much on the field to summon Muckraker. Now he's Fiend locked. Use the effect to discard a Fiend, to summon a Fiend. He brings back Brow. Your Silver effect to bring itself back. Thinking again about what he wants to do here. Bounces the Brow back to hand for Rainbow. Sets a card. One more time, he's just kind of deciding the best possible plays to stop us from doing stuff. He's going to link 5 into Underworld Goddess. So they set card and goes, okay. Pass the turn over to us, and we draw Super Poly for turn. I went, oh my goodness, there's no way my luck is this good. Reading Underworld Goddess, making sure that I can use her for effects of stuff. Okay, we got this. Kind of look at our hand and go, okay, we're gonna try to bait them the negate first. So we activate Instant Fusion, and we go, hey, if he negates this, fine. We've got enough gas in our hand to finish him in one turn. We activate Instant Fusion. I thought he was going to at least Hope Harbinger this, but he ends up just letting it go through. We summon Ambulinoides, activate the effect. Searching to our hand. A copy of Triantis. I go, okay, I can use my scales to summon Greedy Venom, and I go, wait a minute. I could just use his monster and summon Greedy Venom instead. So I add the Triantis, and then I discard the second copy of Predaplant to Fusion Summon. He attempted to negate Super Poly with the Hope Harbinger, and I went, nah, you can't do that. So we fuse our Predaplant and his Dark Monster, whose original level is 8 or higher. Seemed like he somehow had a response, but I wasn't sure, and he ends up just letting it go through because he has to. And we summon the big boy himself, Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. Grapha gonna replace itself with small Grapha. And then he's going to activate Dark World. Something. I think that's puppetry. Again, like, hey, I'm done with my graveyard at this point anyways, go for it. Just going to banish our Bibliss, Ambulinoides, and Super Poly to discard a card. Discarding Grapha. Grapha effect to pop. I go, hey, go for it. Now, admittedly here, I did forget to activate the Greedy Venom in the graveyard to bring itself back, but it was fine. We used the Greedy Venom effect to blow up all his monsters. Just gets rid of its Hope Harbinger and its Grapha. Leaves the Underworld Goddess because she's unaffected by card effects unless they target her. And now with all the negates out of the way, I can almost summon my Fallen of Albaz, discard my Triantis to contact fuse into Mirror Jade. At this point, I know I've got the game. It's just about running through the motions here. So we're gonna Predaplant, summon or for Scorpio add, as I forget to activate each effect in sequence, I'm going to add the Biplisp, Scorpio effect, discard the Biplisp, summon the Cobra, and then chainlink 1 Biplisp, chainlink 2 Cobra, adding a copy of Branded Fusion and a copy of Triantis to my hand. Activate the Branded Fusion, sending the Albaz and the Light Hexagonal Fusion. In order to summon Albion, and then Albion effect. And off of the Albion, I banish an Albaz and a Biplisp to summon out a copy of Chimera Phlesia because it's a Predaplant and a Dark. And then I scale my Bufollicula, clarifying a couple things that are going on. Activate the Bufollicula, fusing my 2 monsters on the field into Starving Random Fusion Dragon. And we officially have game on the board, so we enter the battle phase and swing for game. The handshake, and that was the game.